Hi guys, welcome to another GBI video. This time you're with GBI Chris, and the only reason I'm really doing this video, this hobby video, is because Jay's trying to get one up on me. I've just watched through an early version of his hobby vlog, and I can't be having that. I can't be having him doing one when it's very rare that he actually does hobby. So I'm doing one as well, just to get back at him. We're going to try and use these videos to map our progress, show you what we're working on, and basically just the motivation for ourselves as well as content for you guys to motivate us to paint and finish and build all of the plastic and metal crack we have lying around. As most of you probably do, we have an endless supply of hobby stuff that we buy that we never get around to doing. So now we want to do more content, as we've said in our first video, our first return video. We want to start filming battle and match reports for other systems. If you've watched Jay's video, his hobby vlog, you'll have heard him say I'm painting up the Suicide Squad for his Batman, the miniatures game. I've not actually played the game yet, but Jay is keen on doing it, so I'm painting some stuff up for him. He's actually going to be a bit annoyed because he saw these the other day, and in an attempt to put the models on the table, I dropped Batman, as you can see on the right hand side, that I'd painted, and when I zoom in, I've actually chipped him. So I've chipped his shoulder and his head, which looks like a nightmare now, so I'm going to have to go back and maybe start again with him. I must admit I'm not a massive Batman nerdo, so I don't really know. I've not seen Suicide Squad, so I don't know who most of these guys are. Eyeball Man, presumably. There's a bit of that big eyeball on his head. When I dropped Batman, I also dropped him, and I snapped his right arm off. So as you can see on the top of his right arm, where I've tried to glue it back on, I'm going to have to go back over that. Joker, you can see in a bit more detail. I've tried to do sort of tattoos on him. Yeah. And then some flamey man with a face tattoo. Now, again, I must admit, I had a painting session the other day with a friend of mine, Chris Bunny, and he actually painted the tattoos on this guy's face, so I can't take credit for that. That's down to Chris. And then some panda guy with a gun, which is cool. So that's I've got the rest of the Suicide Squad to paint up, but that's what I've done so far. Behind them, I've started painting a butcher's crew for the second time, because I've actually already painted one up, but because I'm an idiot, I actually sold them off because I wasn't using them. And now Jay wants, when we go to tournaments, for us to play double butchers. I'm going to have to paint up a butchers team. Because fillet's broken, I'm only painting up fillet. So this is just my airbrush attempts. So this is just airbrushed red. And then I'm going to hand paint the rest. So I do actually have Ox. Boiler's arm's falling off. I do have Ox and Shank, but I'm not going to be putting them together. Boiler, now with a missing arm. Princess, Tenderizer, I don't have the pig. And then Brisket, Boar and Meat Hook, and that'll do for me. I don't know if I'm going to get anyone else. I just want a team that I can run, probably Minx with them as well, just because Minx is broken now. I'm allowed to say this because I work for Steel Forged. And that's the Guild Ball at the moment that I'm working on. And then at the back, one of the games I used to play before I got heavily into Guild Ball was Malifaux, and some of my pals around here, namely Pete, and Aidan will be, and Rich, but Pete is trying to bring a resurgence back of Malifaux in our local area. So he was kindly bought me this Hamlin crew, which I actually used to play when I played Malifaux. I had the old metal crew, so now Hamlin's out in plastics. He's got me this because, again, as with my my butchers, I sold off a lot of my Malifaux when I stopped playing, which I'm regretting now. I want to play again. So here we've got Hamlin, we've got his henchman Nix, which is like a dead dog thing. Then we've got an obedient wretch, which just lobs rats at people. And then we've got 3 stolen, which Hamlin uses to protect himself, and then 4 rats. So I need to also buy, there's another box set that's come out with some rat kings and some more rats and some rat catchers. So I'll add that to the crew. But I'm very keen nowadays to play themey stuff. So I'll just be playing Hamlin and all of his rats and stuff, because that's good fun. Staying with Malifaux, the Neverborn was the faction I played when I used to play properly, and I've still got a few old stuff. So I've got here Nakima on the right hand side. So this is my Nakima proxy, which I actually made a few years ago now, when Nakima was only available in metal. So I made this resin plastic proxy, and I actually prefer it to the plastics that are out, so I'm just going to stick with that. Then we've got Leilu, Primordial Magic, a Doppelganger, a kit bashed, well, the plastic male kit. I've built an illuminated, and then I've got Pandora here, which is actually from the avatar, Pandora's avatar, which I'm going to use for just standard Pandora, and then Lelutu on the end. And then my favourite crew for Malifaux was Collodi. So these are the Collodi plastics with 3 old metal stitched that I'd kept hold of, and 2 Coryphy, metal Coryphy. There's a performer in there, but I'm halfway through doing this. I'll give you a bit of a close-up. So that's Collodi himself, his henchman Vasilisa, who just does stupid shenanigans with puppets. The 2 Coryphy that I mentioned, metal Coryphy, a performer who is actually an arcanist, but she's a mercenary, so you can use her in other factions if you pay the extra soulstone. 3 metal stitched togethers, which are unbelievably horrible, especially with Collodi. Then we've got some new, I've only built 2 of them, but 3 of them come in a box. They're called Bunraku, which are like weird Asian puppet things. So Collodi can use anything that's a puppet, so he can use them. Then we've got his totem, which he's got 4 little marionettes, which I must admit, those that play Malifaux, they're an absolute nightmare to put together. And how I haven't lost their arms. Most of these come in like 4 or 5 different pieces. You've got to glue all the arms on and stuff. It's ridiculous. I had trouble with building Hamlin as well, building his rats, because the tails and the hands and the mouths are all separate pieces. Another 2. So I've done a purpley for Neverborn and blue scheme. Still got to paint the bases. And then 3 little wicked doll things. You probably can't see them very well, but they're cool as well. And then I have a hooded, I think it's the hooded rider. Again, the Neverborn horse thing, but because Collodi's a puppet, I've got the puppet version. But he is actually a big, massive, very expensive soulstone model, but he looks cool as a puppet. So that's what I have on my painting table at the moment, guys and girls. So lots to be getting on with. I will also come back with a Dropfleet and DropZone space sort of game that I've recently got into with my pals Matt, Brad and James. So we'll be playing some of that. Hopefully I can get some content of playing that as well, because that's a different system, very different to these sort of skirmish games that I've been playing more recently. So I'll cut to that, and you can see I've just airbrushed most of them to get a green effect, but I'll come back in a bit. So here we've got my DropZone and Dropfleet that I was talking about, without banging. So on the left you've got all the DropZone stuff. So this is sort of fighting on the actual planet. So I've got the Shaltari faction. So as you can see here, there's infantry guys at the front. There's like people carrier. They're teleporters, but they teleport your guys around. There's 3 of them at the front, and then you've got on the right their sort of version of the tanks, and then the air ones that shoot down other spaceships and other flying stuff. And then you've got 2 of their walker things, one with another like turret to shoot down flying stuff. And then at the back we've got 3, again, teleporters. They can teleport bigger units out, tanks and things. And then the big like mothership thing, I'll move it out so you can see it a bit better. I've not played much Dropfleet. We played a little bit a few months ago, and have now won a bit of a resurgence of it now that Dropfleet has also landed, because what me and my pals Matt, Brad and James want to do sort of is, now we've got our Dropfleet stuff built, have some Dropfleet games above the planet, and then be able to go down onto the planet and actually have fights on the planet as well, with all the DropZone stuff, and try and come up with some sort of campaign so that all of the battles change what's happening on the surface, and then you have the fights on the surface to control planets and stuff. So hopefully that'll be quite good. And then Dropfleet stuff, again I'm Sholtari, so on the right hand side here, so you've got a few, forgive me because I'm not actually sure, we've only played 1 or 2 games. There's cruisers and battleships and all these other little things. So I think the little ones are the cruisers, and then you've got battleships and other stuff, and then you've got teleport gate things at the front, the little round ones. There's 3 different versions of the cruisers. So there's these ones on the right hand side, and they've all got different weapon loadouts. So these ones look, they all look slightly different. That's got like a particle cannon beam thing on the front. And then you've got these little ones that are like microwave things, so they're better at shooting smaller stuff, like a wider range. And then you've got these other ones, so they're all just different loadouts, they all look slightly different. And then you've got the big, whatever these things are, big massive ships. So they're just airbrushed. They're undercoated with Games Workshop black, which I've now run out of, so I'm trying to do prime with my airbrush as well. And then they're just 2 different colours. There's the dark blue turquoisey colour first, and then the yellow I put on after that. And then, as you can see on the back right, I've actually done some spot colours. It's like a purple, a Games Workshop purpley maroon colour. This is another big ship, but again these 3 are just different loadouts. So in the Kickstarter, when that came through, yeah, I'll move them a bit closer so you can actually see them. They come all like on the same sprue, and you can build different variations depending on what loadouts you want. So they're just different weapons on them. As you can see, there's like 2 big cannon things on the front. This one's slightly different. It's got that like flying saucer looking thing in the middle, and then this one's sort of got 3 guns on the front. So they all do slightly different stuff. We've not played enough really to know which one's good and which one's bad. I just built different versions, and also I think they are going to release some, but we didn't get any in the Kickstarter. But they do fighters and bombers, which are little tiny spaceships that you launch from some of your bigger ships like these, and they fly about, either going away, there's fighters or bombers. The bombers go away and attack other ships, and then fighters I think fly around your own, acting as better defence. So what I've actually done is I've just gone to like a bead shop, actually in the Arndale Centre in Manchester, and for a couple of quid I've bought all of these little jewellery things, like beads, 2 different shapes. One's like a spiky star, and the other's more like a round, like UFO thing. So one of them's going to be my fighters and one's going to be my bombers. But this has literally cost me, I think they were like 5p each. And then I've just used paper clips that I've bent out to make them. They do look a bit like weird alien ships. So I think the fighters have 5 on the base and the bombers have 3. That could be the other way around, but they do look slightly different. There's the UFO sort of flowery looking ones, and then there's the spiky ones. Yes, just mashed together, but very, very cheap, and they'll stand in as good proxies until we actually get the proper ones. So hopefully, if anybody wants to see a different type of game, some more of a mass sort of battle space game, I guess a bit like X-Wing or Armada, but I've never played either of those. But it's just something different, add a bit of flavour. As we've said in our videos, I got a bit burnt out with Guild Ball, and similarly with Malifaux, because that was all I played and nothing else. So I'm keen to have lots of different systems. And as you'll see, I have lots of different systems and lots of different people to play. So hopefully that'll keep things fresh, and it'll keep some content on the channel fresh, lots of different stuff. As you've seen, Jay is mad on the Hobbit at the moment. You probably won't see me playing that because it's crap. Not really, I don't know. I've only played 1 or 2 games. I'll probably eat my words. Probably next time you see a video, it'll be me playing Hobbit. But for now, I'm trying to resist. Aesthetically, it doesn't fit with me. I just don't like those sort of style. At the moment, things could change, as things always do. But for now, that's it for me this week. And I'll catch you guys next time. Cheerio!